What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and we are looking live today. Got some time, so I'm going live to do the Dolphins Texans recap. Huge win. We're going to talk all about it. So if you are looking live, go ahead, drop comments, drop questions, anything that you would like added to the stream, go ahead and add those. And if you are watching on the record, you know what? Welcome to you as well. And go ahead and drop your thoughts, takeaways, topics, everything that you've got in the comments below as well. But like I said, Dolphins defeat the Texans 30-15. Would you agree with me when I say awesome and terrible? Literally all at the same time. Man, that win. Let's talk about the win. We get to 8-2. We're back to first place in the AFC East. We're back to the number 2 seed in the AFC playoff picture. But man, talk about a tale of two halves. Like I said, I'm going to go over a few things here. I'm going to go over why I'm not terribly concerned about today's second half, but instead something from this game that absolutely does concern me. But let's start with the first half domination, because that is my biggest takeaway from the day. I put down a couple of numbers here from a tweet that I saw at halftime. Total yards, we held a 287-32 advantage in the first half. Also in the first half, 19-3 in first downs, 6.7 yards per play to 1.3 yards per play, and we lead 30-0. We started that game exactly like we needed to. It was no letdown whatsoever, like we were potentially worried about. We're coming off of a bye week. We got that upcoming schedule with 3 just brutal games in a row. But look at what we saw. They weren't taking plays off. We weren't trying to do anything crazy, nothing different compared to the things that have already got us here. We got out to the lead. We made Houston one-dimensional, which essentially took away one of their best pieces, Dameon Pierce, rookie running back. You don't want to put a lot on a rookie, but if you look at them offensively, that is one shining spot that they have. And we literally took him out of the game. 5 carries for 8 yards. The only way, in my opinion, we were losing that game is if we let Houston hang around and control the clock with the run game. And guess what? That exposes what this exposes. What I'm trying to say here is taking them away early, taking that running game away. That exposes teams to my next takeaway. Let me check out a couple of comments here real quick. I agree with that. What is that shirt you are wearing? Well, it's not one of my homemade ones this time. It is just a straight up Miami Dolphins dry fit that I got a couple of years ago. So I appreciate the shout out on the Dolphins gear. I'm not wearing my Tyreek shirt today. I'm saving that for the next game that he gets another touchdown. So we'll get to that. But let's talk about those turnovers. Like I said, if you make a team one-dimensional, if you get out to that early lead, it forces these types of things, the things that we've been asking this Dolphins defense for weeks now. The Andrew Van Ginkel interception, which, by the way, how does that guy consistently find himself in these takeaway situations? Today with the interception, the fumble recoveries in the past, the scoop and scores that he's had on fumbles and on block punts. He's got numerous impact plays basically throughout his career with the Dolphins. And it's not like he's an every down guy. He gets playing time, but he's not getting the Bradley Chubb, the Jalen Phillips type of treatment in regards to playing time. So great plays already on this guy's resume. But look at the other turnovers. Eric Rowe, forced fumble on an awesome hit, great hit, one of the best hits of the season defensively. Howard gets the scoop and score. Literally at that point in time, we're like, all right, we are in cruise control. And then we get one other takeaway as well. Verone McKinley, literally the game-sealing interception. We needed this team to get back to those turnovers, those game-changing turnovers, and that's exactly what we got today. But honestly, defensively, it's more than just turnovers defensively. We pitch a shutout in the first half. We still only allowed 15 points in the entire game, and that was pretty much garbage time. And here's my absolute favorite part from the defense. 5 sacks. Elandon Roberts, Jalen Phillips, Jerome Baker, Duke Riley, Bradley Chubb, all getting in, recording sacks today. We saw it. This pass rush can be dynamic when they're playing with the lead and they're not playing against a scrambling quarterback, because Kyle Allen wasn't going anywhere. We saw Jalen Phillips busting ass chasing him down today. And guess what? We didn't do it just blitzing. We didn't do it just rushing 4. We did it a multitude of ways. There was great examples throughout the game. But honestly, The more different looks we can give defensively, the more ways we can win defensively, the better we are going to be moving forward on that side of the ball. Let's check out a couple of comments here. Yeah. Game over at halftime. We needed a game like that. On to the 49ers. I predict a tie. Bold. I'm not going to go ahead and predict a tie on that one. But, man, we'll get to the 49ers a little bit more next week for sure. Great job on the defense. Good job on the defense. No, absolutely. Hats off to the Miami Dolphins defense today. Let's talk about another takeaway that I had from this because, like I said, I wasn't quite as concerned about the second half performance as much as what I saw from the offensive line. And I'm going to get into this because we see Austin Jackson start at right tackle. So what does that tell us? That tells us that the offensive line unit was gelling just fine with Brandon Shell starting at right tackle. And the coaching staff stuck to their guns. They stuck to what they saw in preseason and in training camp, which was Austin Jackson won this spot. We're putting him there. So I can't blame them for that. I did want them to keep the continuity with the offensive line. We've been gelling. We've been running the ball. We've been protecting Tua. You start Austin Jackson. Well, guess what? He looked fine right away. He was doing fine right away. Rewatch that touchdown run that Jeff Wilson had. 2 great blocks on that touchdown run. Nothing but good stuff. But then things started falling apart. Literally the domino effect. Terron Armstead gets hurt, which brings Brandon Shell back in. He goes to left tackle. What follows from there? Essentially the end of the day for the Miami Dolphins offense. Armstead goes out. Shell goes to left tackle after he's been playing right tackle. And you've heard it all the time. What's the analogy? Go ahead and try to wipe your ass with your opposite hand and see how it goes. That's how offensive linemen feel sometimes when they go from left tackle to right tackle and vice versa. So the pressures just come flooding in. Tua starts getting knocked around. And then we literally see him get bent in half before halftime. And I'm pretty confident that all of our hearts stopped simultaneously at that moment, given what we saw a handful of weeks ago from Tua getting bent like that. So he's just getting banged up. But then it doesn't end from there. Austin Jackson gets hurt. Greg Little comes in. Greg Little plays left tackle. And then when he goes to left tackle, we got Robert Jones staying at left guard. You got Connor Williams staying at center. Robert Hunt stays at right guard. And then Shell moves back to his more natural position of right tackle. So then we get news throughout the game. It's not Terron Armstead's toe. It's a new injury. More concern. It's a pec injury. I know that we were talking in the chat prior to this as well. No news on that injury as of right now. However, Mike McDaniel hopes to have something on Monday, he was saying. But, man, you look at the pec issue, new injury, biggest concern from the day. So Armstead and Jackson's, like I said, their injury, their concerns, whatever the prognosis is, that's going to be the next thing to watch over the next few days. But I tell you what, this unit, especially Terron Armstead, we need to get healthy. That 49ers team, that defense lives off getting pressures and sacks on opposing teams' quarterbacks. So we definitely got to keep it up there. Let's see what we got here. I'm here in local Miami area. Local news keeps getting updated that there's no news on Armstead. He's so brittle. Great player, but fragility, I think I said that word right, will be an ongoing concern. But that's what we kind of signed up for with Terron Armstead. You can't pick and choose which guys are free agents. He was the best free agent tackle available. We went and got him. But what does that come with? Exactly what you said. It comes with concerns. How many seasons did he have where he was missing games? The majority of them. The majority of the seasons that he's played previously, he has missed games. So we kind of knew what we signed up for, which brings up the point, well, why didn't we add more? We should have added more quality depth pieces. And pray to God that it doesn't come back to bite us, because that was one of our biggest concerns, is what happens if something happens to Terron Armstead. And now we got Austin Jackson, who's already on the shelf, potentially on the shelf again. We got Liam Eichenberg, who's on the shelf. We're just flowing through guys, and you can replace certain guys on the offensive line. But when you're talking about Terron Armstead, who's been doing it year in and year out when healthy, you don't just replace a top 3 left tackle in the NFL. Before we get on to the next thing, I do want to throw up the Dolphins hype train up on the screen there. Got to love the Dolphins hype train. Let's go back to those. Let's talk about those second half concerns a little bit. But I want to talk to you about why I'm not as overly concerned as what we should. Because, yeah, it was ugly. But, man, when it was 30-0 at halftime and the offensive line was basically fluttering the way it was towards the end there when Tua was getting hit, I could have told you that second half was just going to be brutal. Quite often we see it. Teams will sort of shut down. The defense will go and do a little bit more of a prevent to just kind of make drives last a little bit longer, not allow anything up over the top. Offenses get a little bit more concerning. In our situation, we pulled Tua with 3 or 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. So we didn't really get ultra conservative, but the play calling was different. The execution obviously wasn't quite there. So that's what we got. We got a team that shut down. So no, the performance wasn't good. You could honestly say that it was terrible. I wouldn't hate you for saying that. But essentially, we turned into survival mode once Tua's first couple of drives of that second half ended early. They ended with pressures. They ended in ways we hadn't seen recently. We've talked about this before as well. What has our offense done in the last 4 weeks? Moved up and down the field with ease, just flowing. That's the kind of offense you want to see. You don't want to see it get stagnant. You don't want to see back-to-back punts. You want to see a lot of good things moving forward and giving yourself scoring possibilities at the end of the majority of your possessions. And that's what we were seeing. That's not the case when this offensive line came out. So you could kind of see we just went into survival mode. And no, that performance doesn't give me much hope if something were to happen to Tua or, God forbid, Jackson's out longer or Terron Armstead's going to be out missing some time. But honestly, I think we all kind of knew that. We've seen this offense without Tua for 2.5 weeks, if you want to count that Bengals game as well. We didn't win a single game while he was out. So we already kind of knew that heading into it anyways. Oh, yes. Let's throw this up on the screen. The high snaps continue from center Connor Williams. Yes, they did. And it's kind of impacted the timing of a few plays throughout the season. And I'm trying to think of which play it was. I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but yes, there was a play that was an actual timing play. No, the ball didn't go through his legs. It didn't go over his head, but it definitely threw off the timing. And in this offseason, we talked about it, or this offense, we talked about it all offseason. Timing is so huge. Tua getting to his spot, receivers getting to their spot. And when you have a high snap and you take away that first fake that Tua wanted to do, all of a sudden that timing is gone. We saw what happened. It ended up being an incomplete pass. I believe in how that ended up going. Let's go. I've got a couple of miscellaneous items here that I want to get to as we wrap things up. Honestly, going into that game, I thought we would have a lot more success running the ball. I'm surprised we didn't have more success against the league's worst rush defenses. This counts the kneel downs, by the way. 26 carries, 66 rushing yards, 2.5 yards per carry. But here's the thing that surprised me. We didn't really make it a priority. We didn't make running the ball a priority in the first half. We weren't opening running lanes like we were the last game we played against the Browns. Those running lanes were not there. But we also didn't put a huge effort into it like we saw with the Browns. I think Tua threw the ball 34 times in the first half. 34 times, but I believe it was 278 yards. No, we didn't get the job done on the ground today. Thankfully, we didn't need it. But that's going to be something to monitor as well. Was it performance-based? Or was it more so the play calling, the scheme going into the game? Because I think everyone thought we were going to run. Everyone saw this game as an opportunity for us to get things done on the ground again. And you almost wonder if Mike McDaniel was like, well, they're going to expect me to run the ball. I'm just going to do what's been getting us to this point. We've got an MVP candidate in Tua. We got Tyreek. We got Waddle. We got 2 top 5 wide receivers in regards to yardage. Maybe we could just run with those, or maybe roll with those guys. I shouldn't use the word run when talking about running the ball. So no, the running game wasn't quite there. Yes, I totally agree with what Christopher said there. Houston's D-line closed those running lanes fast. There wasn't anything there. There just simply wasn't there. We were getting hit either at or near the line of scrimmage on nearly every meaningful run play. I'll call them meaningful, basically the first half ones. And the other last thing I have is very, very, very nitpicking. And it was Jalen Waddle. If anyone was showing a little bit of rust, maybe it was Waddle. He had those 2 drops today. That second one, I know some people were putting that on Tua for putting it a little high, but if you watch that play back, there were 2 defenders in front of Waddle. If Tua throws that any lower to the point where Jalen doesn't have to go up and get it, that ball is knocked down potentially intercepted. So that's not on Tua. Waddle's got to come down with that one. But why I damn near left this out is because after I was thinking about it, I'm like, God, I got to talk about Waddle. I got to talk about his drops. That's the one damn thing that he kind of gets me with. I'm a huge Waddle fan. Just get the Waddle going. That's one of the things, though, that if he could just continue to work on being a hands catcher and bring it in. But then, geez, what does he do? He answers the bell. Tua knows that safety is deep on that contested jump ball. So he throws it to a spot where Jalen Waddle can literally get into the rebounding position, goes up. It's a complete contested catch situation. And guess what? Waddle brings it home. And I'm just like, can I even bring up this guy's drops at this point in time? It kind of feels like nitpicking. So I did need to throw that out there just to keep it in perspective. I don't want to be like super biased. We got to call people out when they deserve it in a sense. But man, talk about redeeming yourself. And he absolutely did. So like I said, Dolphins fans, it was not pretty, but here we are. We're back in first place in the AFC East. Later this week, going to be doing the typical gauntlet of videos. Stock up, stock down, heading in the next week game against the 49ers. Keys to victory against the 49ers. And if everything plays out the way that I'm planning, I'm going to have a guest on that actually covers the 49ers to preview and do the preview and prediction video of the Dolphins 49ers game coming up next week. If you look back, if you've been with Fins Up Network from the beginning, actually his name is John Chapman. I had him on when we announced that Mike McDaniel was going to be the coach. So go back, and you have to go way back for that one. But John does a great job. I'm looking forward to potentially getting that video going on there. Let's see what we got here. Ben is on fire. Hell yeah. Super happy he has not taken a break yet. I can't take a break. Not on this damn win streak, baby. No breaks coming up for this guy. Looking forward to talking more Dolphins fans with everyone. Like I said, thank you very much to everyone that tuned in live, everyone that threw in the comments. If you're watching this on the recorded version, go ahead, throw your thoughts, top takeaways in the comments as well. But until next time, Dolphins fans, actually, let me see if I got another comment here. Armstead had a pec injury in New Orleans, missed 5 games. 49er game could be trouble. Yeah, that all kind of depends on what the prognosis is on that injury. To be quite honest, Mike McDaniel did say in his press conference, how did he word that? He said if it would have been a closer game situation, Terron Armstead still wouldn't have come back. So it wasn't like we're already up by a bunch. This is a precautionary holdout. It was literally an injury that he needed timeout for. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on that. But man, keep your fingers crossed. Pray. Do whatever the hell you got to do to make sure that Terron Armstead is back for that game against the 49ers, because they got a Bosa brother, and I tell you what, you don't want any part of that. I got to end with this. Shout out to Jason Sanders. 3 for 3. I will give him that. They were money kicks. He said it wasn't a mental thing. It was just like a couple of fine-tuning technical things he needed to do. So hopefully that bye week treated him well. Hopefully he got those technical difficulties kind of figured out in his kicking motion, whatever it ended up being. But yes, shout out to Jason Sanders making those kicks and not making us talk about special teams once again this week. Thank the Lord. All right, Dolphins fans, that is what I have got to leave you with today. So until next week, until 49ers week, fins up.